Hello, this is Gilgamesh. I wanted to talk about this movie, Obsession. I ended up seeing it twice. It's really good. It's from YouTuber Curry Barker. He has a YouTube channel, and he made this movie for either between 750,000 to 1 million. What makes this movie work is the way he tells his story. He takes his time. He lets everything take its time from the beginning of this movie to the very end, and it does not have a happy ending. And really, the person that really everybody's great in this movie, but Indy Navarrete plays Nikki. She is great in this movie. She carries this movie. Michael Johnson plays Bear. You have Cooper Tomlinson plays Ian. You have Megan Lawless playing Sarah, and Andy Richter plays her father, who runs a music store, and they all work together. And there's other characters in the movie, but this is the main cast right here. These are the four actors, and from the beginning, we see, in a restaurant, we see Bear, and he's talking to somebody. It looks like he's talking to a woman, and then the camera pulls out, and we see he's talking to to this woman, because he wants to talk to Nikki in a way that is less as a friend and more tell her how he feels, but doesn't have the confidence to do it. So he's going role playing, and then his friend Ian basically interrupts and says, "This is horrible," and then after that, he goes home where he finds his cat somehow got into his oxycodone, overdosed on his oxycodone. So he cleans it up, and he sits there and starts crying on his bed, and then the title Obsession comes on. From here, the title really fits Bear. Bear is the one obsessed with Nikki. It's not Nikki obsessed with him. Nikki sees him like a friend, and she doesn't know yet that his cat died. Sandy, I guess is the cat's name, invites him to this contest where at a bar, I think it is, where it's a quiz where groups of people challenge, they answer questions, trivia questions and everything. So she wants him to go, and then all of a sudden he hears and he goes, "What's that?" And she goes, "Her necklace fell down the drain." So he rushes to this natural healing story and asks, and the lady there says that they're almost closing, and he's looking for a necklace, and he doesn't know what the stone of her, is, and then he notices the One Wish willow, so he picks it up and decides he's going to buy it. They have a conversation. He tells her that she's good. He buys it. He puts in his vehicle, and then he heads off to the bar where Nikki is with Ian and Sarah, and I mentioned they all work together for Sarah's father. Okay, and then they leave. Ian wants to continue drinking, partying. Bear wants to go home. He's tired, and Nikki asks him for a ride. She needs a ride home, and Bear offers her a ride home while Ian and Sarah go drinking, and she mentions she wants to quit her job. She's not enjoying it. She wants to do something different. And then he stops in front of her house, and she gets out, and he says, "Oh yeah, there's a nickname she got in high school she doesn't like," and he said, I think it's Freaky. So he says, "Freaky Nikki," and she goes, "Why? I don't like that. Why would you mention that?" And she asks him, "Do you like me?" And he says, "As a friend." And he goes, "Damn it." So he pulls out the One Wish willow. Oh yeah, he promised to give it to her, and then she had it. So he pulls it out, looks at it, then opens it and pulls out the one, and it makes a sound, and it lights up. So he goes, I wish Nikki loved me more than he wants. Breaks it. And from this moment on, this movie will slowly take a turn into hell, especially for Nikki, because the thing is that she's not in control. And Bear wanted her to love him more than anyone, so this thing takes her over. And you notice it slowly. Like when she stops and turns around and comes back and goes, wants him to come in her house. And he doesn't. He wants to go home. Then, and she suddenly says her cat died, which is not true. She doesn't have a cat as far as we know, but his cat died. She, and then says, oh, I'm sorry. And then gets in the car and says that her dad has cancer and he's dying. Starts crying, so he takes her back to his place. And they go in, and then he offers his bed. He'll sleep, I think he said, on the couch, but then she asks him to sleep with her, not, so that she's not alone. So she takes off her top, showing that she is wearing a bra. So then they start kissing. All of a sudden, something happens, and you hear Nikki go, "What the hell?" And she's kind of freaking out, and then she's apologizing, everything. What we're starting to see is the entity, or whatever this wish thing is taking over Nikki. And you saw the first time when Nikki realized what the hell's going on. Yeah, as this movie progresses, it gets worse and worse, to the point that Bear's in the car, and he suddenly hears the same sound from the one with Will, so he picks up the thing, calls the number. And he gets a customer service. And by the way, the person he's talking to is actually the director, Curry Barker, playing the customer service. And he mentions he wants to alter the wish. And he goes, do you want to, it doesn't work that way. So he goes, do you want to file a cancel? You want to cancel the wish? And he goes, yes. And he says, that doesn't work, boy. And he asks, well, you gave me the impression that I could cancel the wish. And he goes, only. And they go, so she's like this forever? And he goes, as long as you're alive. But then he points him out, you want to talk to her? And he goes, who? Nikki. She's in here. And then you hear her screaming. So we know that Nikki's inside, but she can do nothing. It's the thing, whatever the thing is, it's doing what Bear wants. He realizes the only way to end this, to free Nikki, would to die. But he can't bring himself to do that. So he's really happy. He even says, I'm happy with it. He doesn't want her to be so out of control. But that's the problem here. And I think what this entity thing is, when it takes over, it doesn't know what love is, or, so it basically mimics your emotions. And you see it with Nikki, like when it gets upset, it screams. And there, slowly you see, like I said, you see the insanity, this thing that takes over. Like when he's, sitting there and he finds out from his friend Ian that Nikki's father's healthy. Why did she lie? And then when he brings it up to her, she goes, no, and she starts acting erratic. That's not Nikki. And then when he goes to talk to his friend, who's called him twice, she's moving and looking at him, and this is where the movie starts. There's points where the director has Nikki in the dark, and you can see it like a silhouette of her, but you don't see her. You don't see what, I like this movie gets creepier as it goes on. It has parts where you're laughing, but not because it's particularly like that's meant to be funny. It's meant to be uncomfortable. This movie isn't like, I would call it scary. It's more uncomfortable as it goes on. And this thing keeps, and he finds out, yes, Nikki's in there, and, he admits he didn't know this thing worked when he tried it, but he knows, yeah. And things do get worse. I'm not going to give away the end of the movie, but he's the villain of the story. Nikki is the total victim. So are Ian and Sarah, because he made this wish. And at one point, the entity tells him it's all your fault. This is kind of your fault because you made the wish. And the fact that he knows the only way to end it is to end his life. You only get one wish. And he tries this, try to undo the wish himself. It turns out you can't. You can only use one of these things once. There's no way for the person who makes the wish to then get another one wish willow and try to undo the wish, which is what he tries to do, but it won't work because they tell you it's one wish willow. It means you get one wish. And this goes back to the idea of the monkey's paw. Now, I was watching, them talk about from Indy, said that when she got the script, she knew exactly how she wanted to play Nikki, and also she said she didn't know how to scream, like for the character. So she sat down with the director, Corey Barker, and they worked it. Also she said why she enjoyed doing this movie is the director gave her the free will to play the character how she wanted. She didn't tell anybody how she was going to act. For every scene that she's in, where as the possessed Nikki, this entity is controlling her. She didn't tell the other actors or Michael Johnson how she was going to perform the scene. Then rehearse it so it felt. When you look at their reaction, it's kind of like in Alien when the chest popper comes out of the chest. They didn't know that was going to happen. Here you could tell the actors literally looked like, what the hell's going on? They looked confused and kind of like, what the hell? Because no one knew, and even the director didn't know Indy was going to do the way she did it. And it made that much more uncomfortable. And that's really, what makes this movie work is the cast. It feels very believable. Like everybody's met somebody who has this obsession with somebody. We've all met it. I've met somebody, and they become obsessed with you. And this is where stalking comes in. And really and I kind of look at Nikki's performance as because I'm bipolar, as somebody who has bipolar disorder, and it's untreated, and you have it's like too much. You have the manic side of you that does things, and you're watching yourself and you can't stop what you're doing. That's what's happening here. Nikki's inside her head. She is helpless to stop it. So when we get to the end of the movie, you realize that this is not a happy ending. And I heard somebody say, "Oh, they loved how it concluded." I'm like, how can you love a movie that is the ending is so literal fucked up? It's not as satisfying. It's an unsatisfying conclusion. Well, I mean, for the way the movie goes, yeah, it has that conclusion. It leaves it messed up, but that's the purpose. And the way Corey Barker, from the cinematography to the way he directs it, the direction and everything, you see this creative mind. And no wonder people are really enjoying this movie. And it's really doing fantastic. It was, like I said, between 750,000 or 1 million. It's already made way more money than you would think. And I've heard a lot of people talk about this and go, yeah, this is great. You need to see it. It's not like any movie that you've ever seen. And it's true. This movie's, and it takes the idea of the monkey's paw, but it turns it on its head in a way that you're not expecting. And it is uncomfortable. It's not scary. To me, it wasn't scary. I don't think it was scary. It just had that uncomfortable. You felt uncomfortable sitting there while all this is going on and knowing she has no control over and she can't stop herself. Because this entity, and I think it tries to mimic human motion because it doesn't understand. That's why it acts erratic. It's doing exactly what Bear wants. Focus on me. Me. Make it, I own, you are my property. You don't belong to anyone else. You don't talk to you. That's the way he wants it. He wants her to only be him. So that's what it's trying to do, but at the same time, it doesn't understand, that him wanting to possess her is causing all this, and this entity is doing what he asked, but yet at the same time, it doesn't understand why he gets upset or why he's freaking out, or because it's doing exactly what he wants. The real Nikki's trapped in there and she can't get out. He doesn't want to end it because but he wants it to calm down. He can't change the way this thing's acting because this thing is trying its best, and it doesn't understand why he freaks out, or why anybody freaks out. What it does, because it's showing its love, what it thinks love is what the way it acts. And so, yeah, and that really makes the movie kind of terrifying, is that, and really Indy Navarrete should be up for Best Actress for this movie, and I'd give her the Oscar because I've seen plenty of movies this year, but I've not seen somebody that goes as far as she does for this performance, and it makes the movie terrifying. And really, Bear is the villain of this story. His need for Nikki fucks everything up. And it's like this. Look, I mean, I can show you, I don't want the video getting taken up, but it's this idea that he thinks he's the good guy in his own story. Look at that. This is where he ends up, she's not there, I mean, at first when he takes home, yeah. But when he's talking, this is where he's looking at, he's going to call customer service. She's inside the house, I think, if I remember right. Yeah, he's sitting there talking to him, and that's where he finds out that Nikki's there, but she's not the one in control. And so, and the messed up part is he's choosing to do this, taking her free will away. And like I said, the movie it's not going to have a happy, ending. It's really meant to be a unhappy, messed up ending. It really, the way the whole movie goes, things are not going to be okay by the end. And when the final act of this movie happens, you realize, if you paid attention, you got that. She's in there, but she can't stop what's happening. So it's terrifying when you have no control over what somebody's making you do. That's why this movie works. This is why people are enjoying the movie, because it's not, I didn't think it was scary. I don't think a lot of people thought it was scary, but it's that uncomfortable feeling, watching something that you can't do anything to stop, and that clearly Nikki can do nothing to stop, because Bear's the one who's chosen this for her, without her having a say in it. So he screwed things up for her. So so I would give this probably one of the best movies of the year. So, and this is Gilgamesh. You can find me on YouTube under Gilgamesh. And you can look at all my links are there for my other channels. I'm on Telegram. I'm on BitChute, Rumble. I have a locals channel. I do have a Kick channel. I haven't streamed there. I also have, a Patreon channel, but I use it to watch other people's stuff. So, But hey, I might do stuff on there, but right now I just, So, and my Facebook channel, and so they're all there in my Steam account if you ever wanted to send me a game. This is Gilgamesh. I will talk to you later. Bye.